My dearest renewed vision, a year hath passed since my quill last danced upon parchment to convey mine affections and requests unto thee. In the silence betwixt our correspondences, mine thoughts oft wander to moments we have shared, and the visions thou hast bestowed upon mine congregation's eyes. Now again I beseech thee to indulge a humble petitioner. Verily I do entreat thee to consider a few requests that weigh upon my soul like the feathered wings of a dove yearning to take flight. With bated breath and oft a rainbow wheel of death do I wait thy response. Sincerely, Ryland.
So I want to talk feature requests for Pro 7. It's been a minute, and there's some stuff week in and week out that I'm just like, please give this to us. So if you're watching this renewed vision, let me know. And if you guys are Pro 7 users and you have feature requests, like what do you really wish it had that it doesn't have currently? Drop that in the comments as you watch this video. So let's head over to the Pro 7 machine over on the Mac Studio and I'll tell you my thoughts. If you are new to the channel, hi, my name's Ryland. I'm a worship and media arts pastor, and I've used Pro for the last 14 years here at our church. And I do things a little differently. I ask Pro to do a lot more than most people. We run all of our multi-tracks through it. We have, I think, 8 screens coming out of it. And so week in and week out, we use the timeline feature. So my last note was all about the timeline, and they've taken great strides to improve it, but I still have some feature requests that I'd love to see. For instance, currently my experience is that as the timeline plays, the progress window does not update as the timeline goes. So my operators that see the timeline going, since we automate all of our lyric changes, have to manually scroll to see if there's anything else coming in the song. For instance, we might tag a chorus at the end, but if that window has not progressed as the slides have gone by, they may not see those extra slides at the end. Now we're going to rehearse and they're going to see these things, but it's just an easy thing to forget. So I would love it if it just automatically progressed through the slides and moved the window, the slider, as the slides went. The next thing is the ability to see a waveform on the audio file in the timeline. We use audio files, wave files, MP3s in the timeline all the time, and it would be great if we could actually see the waveform. You know, as a video editor, I'm so used to looking at a waveform for doing things to the beat or really being able to quickly identify where you are in a song. And that would be a really sweet feature to add. I don't know how hard that would be. You see waveforms all over the place, so can't imagine it would be that difficult, but that's a feature I'd love to see. And sticking with the timeline feature, the next feature request I have is for the copy and paste function of MIDI commands in the timeline. I was so excited whenever we got this ability to be able to insert MIDI commands, but it is way too tedious to be able to use for a whole song of MIDI notes. I don't have time to right-click, insert MIDI cue, or drag a prop, containing that MIDI cue onto the exact spot. The purpose of a MIDI cue is to have exact timings with our lighting system. And, if you're programming a song, you might have a chorus that has hits. And then the next time you do the chorus, you'd love to be able to just copy and paste where your playhead is. So I would love the ability to copy and paste those actions in that other lane of the timeline. A small quick feature request is I miss the ability to set in and out points with a button on the inspector. Dragging the playhead or the beginning and end start points of a clip is a lot more tedious now. Loved it when you could get your playhead to the exact spot, hit that start or set to trim to start or trim to end. And if I'm missing that functionality, I just don't know how to do it in the new stuff, let me know in the comments. Maybe that's just a thing I haven't learned yet. My next feature request is for better formatting of operator notes. Again, we do things kind of weird, and we use the operator notes section to put in our light cue timings for every song, so that way it's tied to the song, and every time we drag it into ProPresenter, our lighting operator now no longer has to look at a print off sheet from Planning Center. Instead, they just look at this monitor that is pulling in a stage display using the operator notes. But it's really limited. You can't have colors. To do returns, you have to kind of do the option return on a Mac. You can't really make it easier to recognize when they're supposed to be doing certain things. I think the operator notes section could be a more powerful section to utilize. If there's a better way to do that, again, let me know in the comments. Another feature we've been requesting for a long time is MIDI show control implementation as a ProPresenter action. Currently, we just have MIDI note on and off with intensities, but it's really limited me to where I can't control our lighting software, which currently we use Vista by ChromaQ. To do a play command, you can use just a MIDI note on and do that. But if I want to recall a specific cue, I need to use MIDI show control. So in order to do that, I have to implement BOEM MIDI translator. It's just another piece of software that I have to utilize. Same thing with our M32 over there. If I want to do any muting of on and off things on a specific thing on the timeline, I can't really do that. So I have to, again, use BOEM MIDI translator. I know most people would use Ableton or something like that, but even playback from multitracks, the app can do MIDI show control. So I don't know how hard that would be, but that would be a great feature to have. Again, I use ProPresenter in an unorthodox way where I'm running tracks inside of ProPresenter, but it works really well for us. I fire the tracks from my feet using the timeline feature, and I think that ProPresenter could really capitalize a little bit on that timeline and expand it out and make it a little bit more feature rich. MIDI show control would just be another way to do that. My last feature request for this video is the ability to export props. As someone who has given away free resources, nameplates and different animated title cards that I've created within ProPresenter, it sure would be handy to be able to do those as props, because props are really a great way to implement, a pastor's nameplate or things like that. If you haven't grabbed those, link in the description. There's about 20 different nameplates that are free that you can download. I could just see that being a really helpful thing. Just like you can open up a presentation bundle and it have everything in it, a prop bundle would change the game. Okay, there's my feature requests. What do you guys want to see in the next ProPresenter big release? We haven't had a major release in a while, so I'm curious what they've got, up their sleeve coming. And let me know, do you like my little Tascam DR10L Bob Barker mic? It's kind of fun. Well, if you're curious about some of the things I mentioned about how we use ProPresenter to run tracks or those nameplate free templates, I will link to those up here on either side of my beautiful noggin and in the description as well. Remember, guys, when you do a lot of great things, let's do it all for God's glory. We'll see you in the next one.